When is the best time to use Kickstart? Is this crabgrass growing in my lawn? And what do I do to start growing new grass? Folks, I've got answers to these questions and an important announcement coming up on this week's episode of Garden Sense. Hey everybody, I'm Tim Ward and welcome back to Garden Sense. Well, once again, you have been flooding my inbox with emails about what's going on with your lawn, what's going on in your garden, and obviously we are really happy about all those emails, and we're going to get to those in just a second. However, we have a really important announcement that is actually going to impact a lot of our customers who are used to getting free shipping on our website. Now, we are still offering free shipping, but because of the drastic increase in the cost of shipping these products that we've seen the last year and a half, we are being forced really to raise the threshold in order to qualify for free shipping. As you know, it has been $100 for years on Rosen's Online. Well, unfortunately, we need to raise that level now to $135. So, beginning this Friday, that is August 1st, to qualify for free shipping, all orders need to reach a minimum of $135. Now, I know for a vast majority of our customers, that's not a big deal. You are always spending over $135 when you order for us. But there is a decent number of you who are trying to meet that minimum to get that free shipping, and we understand that this may be a point of frustration for you. But folks, unfortunately, if we want to keep being able to offer you these weekly videos and keep being able to sell you the best products on the market, we are going to have to raise that price so that we can continue to do all of the things that you know and love that are coming out of rosensonline.com. So again, beginning this Friday, August 1st, the free shipping threshold is going to change and increase to $135. Again, I know it's not great news, but hopefully you understand. Now, let's get to the real reason that you're here to watch this video podcast. We selected 3 questions that we're going to address here today, so buckle up everybody. Let's jump right in. The first question is from Keith. Hi Tim, I used Image about a week ago and it did take care of the weeds. What would be the next step in trying to start to growing grass? So killing the weeds is a really important step when planting new grass. You want to obviously make room for that new grass, and getting rid of weeds is a great way to do that. The next step is really about understanding the type of overseeding process you want to follow and then purchasing the grass seed that you need. Now, in terms of the process, I'm going to get into that a little bit later on when I say later on, I mean in the coming weeks. When it gets a little bit closer to that time where most of you are going to be overseeding, we're actually going to put together an entire episode that'll be dedicated to the overseeding process, because there is 2 ways to do it. If you guys remember, last year we implemented a new process. It worked really well. I did it last fall. I absolutely loved it, and we know that you will too. So we'll get into the process of establishing or overseeding your new lawn in a couple of weeks. But really the next step for you is going to be purchasing the grass seed that you need to overseed. Now, the grass seed we always recommend is the Barenbrook Turf Saver RTF. It's available over at Rosen's Online. Now, this is a rhizomatose tall fescue, which means it spreads using rhizomes. It's a very high quality seed, and frankly, we think it's the best tall fescue grass seed on the market. Now, in terms of how much you want to buy, it's really going to depend, obviously, on how much of an area you are overseeding. Now, typically, the Turf Saver grass seed needs to be put down at 8 to 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. But that's if you are establishing a brand new lawn. If you are overseeding, you want to cut that in half. So you're going to need 4 to 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So figure out how large the area is and then base it off of a 4 or 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and then head over to Rosen's Online and purchase the grass seed that you need. And then obviously stay tuned. In the coming weeks, we're going to go ahead and produce a new overseeding, fall overseeding video right here on the Garden Sense video podcast. The next question is from John. Hi Tim, my question today has to do with the application of Kickstart. May it be applied at any time during the year, time of day? What is optimum conditions to apply? Before rainfall, when there's no rain in the forecast? All right, so one of the beauties of Kickstart is it's not only a very versatile product, but it's very easy to apply. And what I mean by that is there aren't a whole lot of restrictions around it. Now, in terms of when you can apply it, you can apply it any time of year as long as the plant is actively growing. So for your lawn, obviously it's going to be, when it has not gone dormant. For your indoor plants, if they're producing new growth in the middle of winter, you can obviously put it down. Depending on what plant you're using it with, that's also going to dictate a little bit in terms of the time of day. Believe it or not, some plants prefer to be watered earlier in the day, and that's when you would put down your Kickstart, is when you're watering your plants. Now, in terms of grass, the ideal time to water your lawn is between 6 and 10 a.m. Now, because Kickstart is applied using a hose and sprayer like the Ortho Dial and Spray, that's the product that I use to apply Kickstart, so it makes sense to put it down when you would normally be watering your lawn. So we recommend between 6 and 10 a.m. So that's when I tell people you should put it down. Now, can you put it down any other time of day? Absolutely. You just have to remember that if you put it down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of summer, a lot of that water is going to evaporate off a little bit quickly, and so the grass in this case may not get as much benefit from that Kickstart. Again, we want to make sure that it has time to be absorbed by the plant. For that reason, we also recommend that it should be a nice day, or at least not a rainy day, when you put it down. We want to make sure that that plant is exposed to just that product in the water and it has time to absorb it. If you put it down and then it rains right away, there's a good chance that the plant hasn't had the opportunity to absorb it, even via the foliage or actually through the root system if you're using it as like a soil drench or something like that. So again, it's very versatile. There's no real wrong way to do it, but there are some better times when to use it. So obviously the plants, whether it is a tree, a shrub, your flowers, your vegetable garden, or your grass, is going to determine when you want to use it. But regardless of when, it has to be growing. So as long as the plant has not gone dormant, you can use Kickstart. The last question for today is from Kathy. Hi Tim, I have a few areas where we have clumps of what I believe may be crabgrass. Can you tell me what kind of weed/grass this is and how do I deal with it now? So yes, this is crabgrass. It's called hairy crabgrass. It's also called large crabgrass. And frankly, there are a bunch of products you could purchase to take care of it. Now, we recommend two. The best product that we have for killing crabgrass is actually Image All-in-One Weed Killer. However, if you are only looking to kill crabgrass and not worried about any other type of broadleaf weeds or anything like that, you may actually want to consider a less expensive option like a Crab E-Rad. Again, both products are available over at rosensonline.com. They're both quality products. We prefer the Image All-in-One simply because when you put it down, it doesn't just kill the crabgrass, but we put it down over our entire lawn and it kills all the broadleaf weeds. But if you're looking to just target a specific area and it's only crabgrass that you're worried about, then again, head over to Rosens Online and pick up Crab E-Rad. It's really effective at killing just the crabgrass. You'll be really glad you did. All right, everybody, just a couple final thoughts before we wrap up this week's video podcast. Folks, as I mentioned at the beginning of this program, we are changing the threshold for free shipping from $100 as it's been for years, and we're increasing it to $135. This is a really critical change for us because, again, with the rise in shipping costs that we have been seeing, the business model that we have can't be sustainable if we continue to offer it at that lower amount. So beginning this Friday, August 1st, we are increasing it to $135. Now, folks, we are entering into those dog days of summer, and it's going to continue to be really, really hot in some areas, and some of these other areas where maybe it's been a little bit cooler, you're going to see those temperatures start to rise. August and September can be really brutal months in terms of heat, and obviously your lawn and your plants can suffer because of it. So Because of that, we really recommend that you are using Kickstart. Kickstart is going to strengthen the root systems of any of the plants that it comes in contact with. So your trees, your shrubs, your flowers, and yes, of course, your lawns. So if you have been active with your fertilizing schedule with your grass and you put down turf truss for that second feeding that we recommend, then you're going to want to make sure that you're using Kickstart. It's going to help your lawn absorb the nutrition that's in the soil, and that nutrition that turf truss is putting into the soil. It's going to be really, really important. So make sure that you are implementing Kickstart on all of your plants, especially if they are very susceptible to heat damage. And again, with the weather that we've been having and all the emails that I've been getting from you, I know that this is a concern. So make sure that you are using Kickstart. Folks, I also want to remind you that, at the end of August, beginning of September is when we're going to start talking a lot about overseeding. That's when that process is really going to start. And for some of you, you may even be starting, thinking about killing weeds in mid-August. So again, remember that over at rosensonline.com, we carry all the weed killers that you're going to need to kill the existing weeds that you have. And obviously, we carry Barenbrug Turf Saver RTF. It's the best seed on the market. It's the only grass seed that we carry because of that. And so as you are looking at overseeding and you run into any questions, make sure you reach out to us. We will be glad to help you. And as a reminder, we are going to be putting together a fall overseeding video here in a couple of weeks. Folks, as always, if you do have questions and you need help with your lawn or your gardens, make sure you send an email directly to me, tim@rosensonline.com. I promise that if I receive that email, I will get back to you. As always, we really appreciate all the time that you have spent with us these last couple of years on these videos. It does mean a lot. Folks, we hope that you have an amazing rest of the week. God bless.